Rugged coastlines, industrial cities, rural landscapes and historic castles, Ulster has a wealth of places to see and explore. For centuries, the coming and going of folk between Ulster and Scotland has left its mark on the landscape and people. I'm Jane Rea, and in this short series I'll be visiting some of the most stunning visitor attractions we have to offer, which are steeped in Ulster-Scots history. Today I'm in the city of Londonderry, commonly known as Derry, one of two large towns built during the plantation of Ulster, the other one being Columb, which is about 50 kilometres northeast from here. Derry is also known as the Walled City, as it has the most complete circuit of historic walls of any town or city in Ireland, standing up to 8 metres high and just over 1.5 kilometres in circumference. Derry became a famous, iconic Ulster-Scots settlement, and the walls here were built between 1613 and 1618. And they were used as defence during a siege in 1649 by an army of Scots Presbyterians. The city claims Europe's largest collection of cannons, many of which were fired at a second siege of Derry in 1689, the first major event of the Williamite War in Ireland. In 2005, the 24 remaining cannons were carefully restored and can be seen here today. The 4 original gates to the walled city are Bishop's Gate, Ferry Quay Gate, Butcher Gate and Ship Quay Gate. One of the major ports of the 18th century was here at Ship Quay Gate. Many of the early settlers to New Hampshire and Boston would have came from Londonderry, passing through here before boarding the migrant ships and sailing for New England in 1718, marking the beginning of a great exodus. This is St Colum's Cathedral, and for almost 400 years it's dominated the skyline on the highest point within the city walls. It's the oldest surviving building in Londonderry and was built in 1613 by the Honourable Irish Society. The old original church was used by the settlers from 1613, and this chalice was sent to them from London as a promise that a cathedral would be built in Derry. It's still used today in services for Holy Communion. Construction work began in 1628 and it took 5 years to complete. The stone which records the completion can still be seen in the porch of the cathedral. It reads, "If stones could speak, in London's praise should sound who built this church and city from the ground." The cathedral was built of stone from local quarries and used skilled stone cutters and masons. St Colum's is the first cathedral in the British Isles to have been built after the Reformation and is a stunning example of the Planters Gothic style of architecture. In 1748, the cathedral had a famous visitor in the form of John Newton, writer of the hymn Amazing Grace. Newton came here following a storm on Lough in Donegal, where he had a spiritual epiphany. Just a short walk along the walls is another historic building, First Derry Presbyterian. It was mainly funded by Queen Mary, wife of William of Orange, as a thank you to the Presbyterians who defended Londonderry during the siege of 1689. This impressive plaque depicts the Scotsmen who came to Derry in the 17th century. It reads, "From 1605 onward, many Scotsmen settled in Londonderry and the neighbourhood, so many that in 1644, when the Solemn League and Covenant was publicly signed in the Diamond, they formed the bulk of the population." Then if we look further down, we can see a list of ministers who have preached here. Again, it was Scotsmen who were sent, and it reads, "During part of the 17th century, ministers were sent to Derry for stated periods by the Scottish General Assembly." Behind First Derry Presbyterian, you'll find a timeline on the wall of the church's life. And here in 1773 is the introduction to the Blue Coat School, which you'll find just behind the church. Initially, around 12 boys were invited to lead the congregation in worship on Sundays. Their work as members of the choir was rewarded with a free education in music and the 3 R's, reading, writing and arithmetic. The boys were each supplied with boots, yellow stockings, breeches, a waistcoat, a hat and a distinctive blue coat, which is how the school got its name. Then, in 1854, girls were invited to be educated and lecture halls were constructed and used as a girls' school. First Derry Presbyterian Church's interest in education continued to grow throughout the 19th century. It was involved in the establishment of 3 other schools and Magee College, which was founded to educate Presbyterian ministers. It's now a part of the Ulster University. The Guildhall is currently home to the local council. The building was designed by Ulster-Scot John Guy Ferguson. It took 3 years to build and was completed in 1890. Other famous Ulster Scots have come from this county, including the first female aviator, Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was one of the greatest adventurers of her era. In May 1932, she was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, landing near Derry. In 1933, she was the guest of honour at the annual dinner of the Ulster-Irish Society of New York, where she revealed that she had Scots-Irish ancestors. She said, "My father's mother's family came from Londonderry, and on this occasion she was presented with a roll of linen, woven from flax that was grown in the field where she had landed." Come and see the walled city with its world-class visitor experiences, and you just might uncover your very own Ulster Scots connections.